feel like we're getting delayed by having to do these fights.
이런 부수적인 효과를 기대했었죠. 친히 목을 떨궈주마.
대성공이야. 가론 신나. 노래 부를까?
내 뒤로.
결저 염화. 나라도 그렇게 했을 테지. 이만하면 훌륭하군요. 혈염도 바로.
Here's a separate thought, or kind of within the thought of the mixing of character roles of Ryoshu being the daughter from the book to some effect, but also potentially having her own child within the confines. There's a potential other thought process I'm having of it's not just Yoshihide being blended into the daughter role, but also potentially into the lord role, because there is mention of father, mother, and daughter, so potentially there is a, rather than having the separate non-familiar lord character, there is the direct actually Yoshihide father figure for Ryoshu.
골치 아픈 것들이 고기 조각이 되었군요, 단테. 나쁘지 않은 성과입니다.
That even though I mentioned earlier on that there were exaggerated stories of Yoshihide, there were things from his stuff that I attribute it to Ryoshu as well, because it's the thing with Yoshihide's art is wanting to see. I can't remember I know there's a term for it. Like the people who can imagine what something can look like within their head and form off of that other people need a more visual reference. They need to see something in order to be able to paint something. I probably lean more toward the needing a visual to some effect to do it well, because when I don't have a reference or don't have anything to go against, and there's a line, some people, and it changes, and there's different versions of it, but what was it? I'm trying to get these all squared up and then keep talking. Put you over there. But the general idea of Yoshihide doing that in the book and the stories that were told were due to the painting of the hell screen was meant to be a depiction of hell, essentially. So how do you depict hell if you're not inflicting some level, and if you need to see something to be able to paint it, you're inflicting some level of pain and torture. So there were stories about assistants who essentially went through grueling torture almost to assist Yoshihide in the painting of the hell screen. Being attacked by hawks and snakes and such. So things like that were part of Yoshihide that I've also attributed to Ryoshu, because she seems to have and they give it a more twisted pleasure of her being sort of fine with the mutilation and judging people's version of fighting and killing as essentially their versions of art, which makes sense. I'm honestly really surprised. I guess I shouldn't be surprised because it is depicted in her primary ego artwork that it is all 5 fingers, or the 5 fingers are depicted, but her general personality in the art section seems very more toward just the ring. But the fact that she has a deeper connection to more of the fingers outside of just the ring, like, she seems to despise the thumb. I'm wondering if she has a better relationship with the ring. Or does she have a similar disdain for all of them? I'm assuming they're all essentially the what's it called? The Nurse Fathers? So each of them were meant to essentially raise Ryoshu, train Ryoshu, and potentially the overarching House of Spiders is not directly members of any ring organization, but potentially they employ different facets of the ring to be those Nurse Fathers. There's so many, like, various things. I'm also thinking the thing that is in young Ryoshu's hands is probably a thing that was killed. Because it has the same similar weapon type stabbed within it. Throwing out things. As we were battling our way through the Apecula, Gregor came to a sudden stop. Wait, do you fellas hear something? Sounds like breathing. It's faint. I hear it. In this general direction. Marisol stared at the giant containment chamber near a door where it lay on the ground, smashed in a knock. How unlikely it may be that a Pecula or any enemy combatant. Unlikely, the breathing is unstable and shallow, like that of a wounded human. Hey, Otis. It'd only be right that we're trying to save them if there's even the smallest chance that they're a survivor, right? I suppose that could leave a not-so-negative impression of us on the HQ. We knelt around the fallen door, slipped our fingers under the debris, and lifted. The door rose with a loud metallic creak. Oh! Okay. Yeah. Alyssa. Underneath the door was a woman, her breathing shallow. Hey, she was one of Hohenheim's researchers who guided us through the regular checkup. Alyssa. I'm Alyssa, yes. Yeah, I didn't think you'd remember my name. Alyssa slowly shared her name, her voice strained, and as if she was squeezing the air out of her lungs. She was covering her chest with her hands and overcome with pain. Okay, Miss Alyssa, are you... Every breath hurts so much. I couldn't call out for help. Reminds me of what Boss used to say, we're not the main characters of this story. So upon the proverbial coin flip, we can only wait to see if it'll land heads or tails. Alyssa let out a brief, dejected chuckle before wincing with pain. Lady, seems to me you're in plenty of pain. This hardly seems to be the time to be joking about. Hold on. This stake? Alyssa's hands was grasped around the same spiral-shaped rod that bodies in the hallways were holding. What happened here? The alarm system. The alarm didn't go off. Even the smallest accidents or issues triggers the alarm to go off in our department. Boss Hohenheim was adamant about stalling that system. That said, he didn't want to repeat the fall of the Lobotomy Corporation. A pain grimace crept into Alyssa's expression that she tries to calmly continue her explanation. It wasn't just from what was staked through her chest. The alarm system didn't go off, not even when the employees realized that the facility was under attack. No, it's not supposed to behave that way. It wasn't. We waited while Alyssa caught her breath and calmed down. The light suddenly died. We thought it was the experiment we were conducting. Boss groused from time to time about how much energy it eats. Damn it, I should have noticed that something was off. Alyssa blamed herself to no avail, her voice growing faint. So I thought it was just a temporary power outage. No one thought much of it because it didn't trigger the alarm system. Yeah, it's understandable. I was heading to the research hall to retrieve something, and that's when I heard the sound of dress shoes click, clack, echoing through the dark hallway. Not too slow, not too fast, a relaxed but disciplined gait. No one in our department walks like that. We're always so busy that we always walk in a slight jog. Then a terrible dying scream followed. Before the massacre began, like a hellish nightmare that just wouldn't end. No one knew what was going on. Help. Who's there? All I knew was that I had to run. And something whistled through the wind and felt something hot across my chest. I looked down and saw this thing had pierced me. Then I passed out. When I woke up, someone had forcibly unlocked all the containment units. Abnormalities, pectula, even distortions running amok. And I was pinned down by a containment unit door that got knocked off its frame. So you weren't with Hohenheim or other people when it occurred. Boss must have been by the conference hall. Could you get the pen and paper from my pocket? Alyssa drew a simple map on a piece of torn paper. I don't know if the others are safe, but follow this map and you should at least be able to see for yourself. Or at least get a clue of what happened. There. We get the general idea. Let's have a look at that wound. Gregor replied calmly. Bollocks, that wound keeps bleeding. This ain't your usual weaponry. Well, you recognize this? Cliff asked Otis with a palpable concern. From the way it looks, the more the victim moves, the deeper it will drill into their flesh. Perhaps a workshop product designed to install and take combatants out of commission, rather than kill outright. If the assailant had the wherewithal to use weapons like this, then they could have very easily killed the victims then and there, too. What was the purpose? Was the purpose really just to stall them, or was it some sick fascination? I might lean towards sick fascination. Seems that staying still is what saved your life. That was wise of you. Yeah, I don't know about wise. It hurts too much to even think about moving anyway. Perhaps all that closed the wound or rapidly heals as it was remedied, were we to extract the vile weapon. Yeah, you're not gonna walk around with that thing in your chest forever, right? Let's pull it out, get that wound treated, and it's no use. Yoshu spat out a reply. It's no use. This is a kind of device that physically cannot be removed. No, pulling it out isn't the hard part. It's just inadvisable. If we force it out of her, then she'll end up like those bodies in the hallway. Yep, the spiral burrows endlessly to reach the other side. But paradoxically, it cannot punch through all the way, because it will never arrive at that point. Sweetheart, this is called a spiral. Once it is lodged inside the body, even the slightest of movements will make it burrow deeper into the flesh, forcing the victim to remain perfectly still. It may not sting any worse than a prick of a thorn at first, but the more you try to yank it free, the further it drills into the body. But no matter how much it keeps sticking in, it will never make it to the other side. The closer it gets to the end, the slower it becomes. It can never meet its endpoint. You know how to unlock it, yes? I'll give you the... once you return with the job done. Remember, if you try to pull it out without... it will tear out everything it tangles itself with as it bored through. So stay put exactly as you are if you want to live. All I could see of you were these fragments of her memories, its remnants. If you try to pull it out without the... if you try to pull it out without the matching, then... Once again, I recall Ryoshi's shattered memories with the distinct feeling that drawing something up to the surface, the scenes from her mutilated memories. As if it was generally the case, I didn't know how exactly I did it. It just came naturally to me the moment I wished for it to happen. Huh? See anything, Gluck? Ryoshi, what if that spiral needs a certain combination of numbers, like a password? To resolve the spiral's paradox, you'll need to find the correct pair. If you try to pull it out without a matching number, then the sword and the scabbard, yin and yang, the past and the future, me and you, everything regrettably is paired together with an awful stubborn connection. Do you understand what it means to die? What it means to sever something? For a brief moment, an odd expression appeared on Ryoshi's face. White hair. Do speak. The spiral can be disabled. It must have something to do with numbers, like the clock said. But I don't exactly remember what it needs. Know anything about a spiral-shaped weapon called the tortoise spiral? It seems that you've come to understand, if only marginally, how Faust is to be used. As I have visually observed the device and Ryosho has provided certain keywords to narrow the results, Faust can now know. Did you say that you're to be used? Yes. Faust is a hive mind of information. But if she doesn't have certain keywords to find the information in relevance, then she can't be used. Or if she knows what information is in relevance and isn't asked to provide them, she's not going to tell us. Ignoring the curious looks from the sinners, Faust carefully walks up to the body and unclasps the spiral from their hands. Zeon's tortoise spiral is what Faust calls this device. After some time, Faust pulled the bottom part of the spiral, opening its hatch. It is a lock. The spiral requires a 7-digit combination to release, and the spiral's infinitely burrowing nature, despite its inability to ever penetrate the heart, explains why Miss Alyssa's bleeding will not stop. If it is locked, then we can use a fairy to open it. Fairy? She speaks of F-Corp singularity. If the spiral is locked, as you say, then would not a technology to unlock anything make for the perfect countermeasure? Theoretically, a fairy should indeed be able to unlock it. However, what first must be considered is the value of the technology applied to the spiral weaponry. Then only an expensive fairy would guarantee a successful outcome, which would be hard to come by at this immediate moment. Ryosho and the rest of us stared at the spiral lock with a degree of trepidation. We weren't going to be able to brute force a 7-digit lock. This probably won't work, but can't we just start from zero and go from there? As it is the case with most locks, a certain number of incorrect attempts would... Point taken. It's death, isn't it? Don't leave me alone. I'm scared. That's honestly what I'd like to ask. But there might be survivors by the lab. You know our boss. He won't go down so easily. Just go help them instead. But if we leave you like this, well, this isn't the worst way to go. This way, at least, I won't be going into some trivia book of stupid deaths like 100 dumbest researcher deaths. Perhaps working under Hohenheim influenced her to put a mask of aloofness even in a situation like this, but it was clearly taking considerable effort on her part to maintain it. Were we in any other situation, I would have asked what those 100 dumb ways to die were to alleviate the tension, but I held my breath and embraced the painful silence.
알리사군,
We shall return to thy side, young Alyssa. What?
반드시 다시
I
돌아오게
give
돼.
thee my word, so
적들이 다가오는 것 같으면
hide thy best as thou canst. When enemies approach, thou mustn't yield now, I beseech thee. You better listen to the last. She ain't one for empty platitudes. Yeah, okay. I won't give up. Thank you. C485. Yosha quietly muttered to herself. Clock. Ever play a game of escape room? What? This is very much like a game of escape room. To find the solution, you begin to gather the clues. A game, huh? You want to save that researcher, don't you? Then you'll need the serial number on that spiral. Every step we took from Alyssa as she suffered the slow death was painful. I wasn't even sure if we could save her life. Shadows behest the path ahead.
사냥감인가 몸이.
Ishmael, who had been following the route Alyssa had mapped out, stopped in her tracks.
이스마일 씨, 왜 그러세요?
Ishmael? What's the matter? Something about this seems off.
이스가 지도를 보고 있는데 길을 잃을 리는 없고. 뭔데?
I don't suppose Ishi would ever read a map wrong. What's the matter?
찾아가고 있는 중이에요. 다만
Yeah, we're heading the right way, but the thing is,
너무 수월해서 문제죠.
this just seems too easy. What's wrong with that?
지나온 길을
Think back to the path we took to get here. Every other route was crammed with all kinds of obstacles to discourage us from taking a detour. The corridor to the left heading to the welfare department was closed off. The one to the right leading to the facility management room was blocked with debris. As if they're corralling us down this route. I can't shake off the feeling that we're chasing the bait-headed hook on the fishing line. Well, can't say we've much of an alternative, eh? A bit dodgy, yeah, but nothing we can do about it. It would be wise to stand wary. Hang on, Fel. Check this out. These are the traces of an escaped abnormality, also known as Fey Lantern. We've encountered this abnormality more than once in the mirror dungeons. Oh, that tree thing. So this one's the original. I don't think Fey Lantern's the one's abnormality. The only abnormality that's broken free. Let's take them down and reduce them back to eggs. If they prey on any survivors who stumble in here, that'll be real trouble. Are we doing Fey Lantern right now? We are! Okay. My default for this, turn 1.
다들 첫 여정을 시작했을 정도 정말 강해지셨네요. 매일 보아왔는데도
Granted, it's much easier in a mirror dungeon situation.
우와, 칼음도 깜짝.
접세와.
답공창.
나라도 그렇게 했을 테지. 이만하면
God, they gave him red coins.
하나 넘고 둘 넘고 꺾고 제쳐라. 아,
태풍.
여기선 이런 공격이 잘 먹히는군요.
전탄격발.
Is that normally there? additional, like, sparky thing. I don't recognize that.
멀미봉투는 좌석 밑에 있어.
Yeah, shit, we're back to this.
씨한테 토하지 마.
기꺼이. 회풍.
Hang on, what's going on? This thing doesn't feel like the same entity we ran into in the mirror dungeon. If we are to delve deeper, it appears that the mirror, or the one we encountered, it appears to mirror the one we encountered in the refraction railway. Oh shit. While Hohenheim does harbor some interest in this subject, he is not great enough a genius to turn that curiosity into reality. Then why could this possibly be happening? Hold on, some left this here. Seems to be a torn page from a note. It's covered in fluorescent paint. Be easier to spot. Whoever left after could have known we were coming. It's probably a note. Possible survivors. No reason not to read it. Observation. Record irregularities. Written by Moss's LCD investigation reasoning team leader. The entity abruptly escaped its containment unit during the assault. Readers of this note should be warned this entity shows some irregularities that have not been observed previously. With a higher number of employees within the research facility were killed, the Fey Lantern breached containment. Under LC's abnormality control protocol, such an escape is known to occur only when the employee's inherently low aptitude exhibits an attunement level exceeding 75% with LCE, Ego Fey Lantern, or when the outcome of the managerial work is determined to be above very good. The Fey Lantern, whose escape was triggered by the death of Surrounded, has deviated from its suspected behavior pattern of preying on charmed victims one by one, and instead has begun consuming multiple targets all at once. Presumably, the entity must have realized that its food reserves were being rapidly depleted. After Erza destroyed the bay, luring unit twice, designated as Blueberry, the LCB observation log, the Fey Lantern's aggressiveness significantly increased. At that point, Erza was no longer affected by its charms. Based on these observations, I was able to establish a hypothesis that anyone who observes a blue fairy for at least 7 seconds and then immediately destroys its head becomes immune to its influence, and that this effect applies only to the individual who destroyed it. This information may not be of much use to its researchers, however, I shall leave a note to be consulted should the need arise. Addendum: when the Fey Lantern identified only a single individual, it will not attempt to charm them, but instead appear wary enough to simply watch them, yet due to limited sample size, further confirmation will be necessary. That is quite a bit of useful tips. Well, now I think I've got a rough idea of how to deal with it. Alright, let's refer to the record for intel and try suppressing it again.
간당 목숨줄만 붙어있군. 곧 끝장날 수 있을 것 같은데 수감자들로 효율적인 마무리를 명령하시오.
저분이 방금 굉장히
So in
들으셨어요?
theory, Yisung broke it, so Yisung should be immune?
저런 얼빠진 모양이 되는 건가? 제법 재미있는 구경거리군요, 단테.
불가 위야. 막아내지 못하리.
닭은 달려들어라.
저 해충들을
도려내라, 염화! 그간의 전투 경험이 쓸모가 없진 않아. 길을 열어라!
Ah, we hit stagger.
승객이 따끔 한
That's what I was hoping for.
좋습니다.
Hitting it early, so now essentially everyone can get big damage. If we hit the second stagger too, might be able to just fully take care of this. if we get a proper stagger round.
기쁨이란
We do!
이런 사소한 일에도
Full
스매시
damage.
따라오나
Send it!
봐. 모두가 노력한 덕분에 업무가 일찍 끝날 것 같은 지금처럼
I
말이야.
only say get a proper stagger round because it has screwed me before. Easy.
다음은 어디로?
Ethan's doing work right now.
나와. 죽일 게 안 남아서 김에 죽여버렸잖아. 뭐냐? 너희들도 좀 부족했나 보지?
I'm annoyed that his voice line's still going though.
준비한 대로만 하면
저희에게도 이런 힘을 베풀어 주시다니.
Okay, we're going right into this one. This one's harder.
실수로 주셨더라도 상관없어요. 한 번 베푼 이상
Or rather just more of a pain.
일기당신 목을 떨궈주마.
내 뒤로
God, I wish this was done in like a long battle format between each of these.
시작이 됐어.
Because I'm thinking we're gonna have, based on previews, another one. At least one more.
하나 넘고 둘 넘고 꺾고 제쳐라.
나라도 그렇게 했을 테지. 이만하면 훌륭한.
Damn, you won right at the end, Sinclair. Yeah, that's the main reason why I kind of wish it was.
역시 홍원 바깥은 신기한 것들로 가득 차 있네요. 날개를 펼치고 목을 떨궈주마. 발톱을 걸어. 다들
회풍
첫 여정을 시작했을 때보다 정말 강해지셨네요.
그래,
매일 보아왔는데도
그렇게 시원하게 처리하니 보는
감회가
맛이
새로워요.
나는군. 일을 좀 빠르게 하는 편이 나를 답존하는 거지.
단테님은 매번 기발한 발상을 떠올리시네요.
터져 찾지 못하리.
That's one.
우와,
Damn.
카른도 깜짝.
At least I got one. Put you there.
내 뒤로 이제 깨우치시고
Two.
답봉창
Damn.
전투 감각 하나만큼은 수감자가 되어도 훌륭하긴 하군. 이제 그 도통 알아들을 수 없는 말투만 고치면 딱 좋겠어. 4번 수감자.
sorry. Okay, fine.
도려내라. 염화. 유야. 길을 열어라.
너 방금은 실수였던 거죠?
회풍.
Still not quite close to breaking. Left one's closer though. That might have helped the right one get. And we're at it again.
알쏭달쏭해. 뭐가
That was
나올지
fast.
모르겠어.
날개를 펼치고 12수에게 발톱을 걸어. 이 앞에 숨쉬는
내 뒤로.
누구 하나 살려보내지 마라.
대성공이야. 칼은 신나. 노래 부를까?
One.
다음은 어디로?
우와. 카름도 깜짝.
불가 위야. 막아내지 못하리.
Shit.
모험하고
이제 깨우치시길. 항상 지켜보고 있었지.
Oof.
받아볼 텐가.
무불아위.
칼은 빙글빙글.
전탄격발.
I get confused when I also have red coin shields that just still win.
뭐야? 쓰러져? 맛대가리 없는 새끼.
this fight has been anything to go by, it will soon emerge from one of the dimensional rifts. If we can intuit the next point of emergence, we can maybe deal with the fatal blow before it fully emerges from a dimensional rift. Gloom advantage? Neither of you are rolling gloom? You can hit third. God, do I gamble? Oh, thank you. Since the after PM, crawling out the dimension rift, Hanlu selected. Though it sensed the center's presence before it emerged, it didn't have enough time to react before Honglu swung their weapon at it. The entity hurriedly closed off the dimensional rift as it fled back into its safety that seemed to have destabilized the dimensional rift. Opportunity.
아는 것을 모른 채 할 순
의심,
없으니
암귀,
Probably
불안,
staggered.
그런 것들이 들끓을 때가 가장 취약하죠. 알아듣겠습니까? 지금이 적기라는 것입니다.
Don't have favorite clash. You're going to hit the other arm.
내 뒤로.
Oh look, this one also got staggered. So it's a win for both.
야호, 이기는 편, 우리 편.
불가 위야 막아내지 못하리.
모든 무상무정 시선해봐야 부질없다 해도 기꺼이 저 풍진 세상으로.
회풍.
Okay.
틈 끊어 이제 깨우치시길.
Okay. That's 2 down.
나를 계속 고용해라. 봉헌의 여러 협객 중 내가 별나게 보일 수 있겠지. 하지만 그 후엔
Charm,
백수들보다도
wayward,
뛰어나다는 걸
doubt.
알게 될 거다. 그때는 너
이 경로는 숨어들기 나쁘지 않군 그래.
Ah, okay, this is the one.
위에서 당신을 관리자로 정한 데에는
This is the
합당한
last one I remember from the preview, so if there is any other ones that...
있습니다. 단테.
Yeah, I was struggling.
회풍.
Had so many people that just could not clash that probably would have won some of those.
위에서 당신을 관리자로 정한 데에는 합당한 이유가 있겠지. 기대하고 있겠습니다, 단테.
기꺼이
시비수에게 명한다. 이 앞에 숨쉬는
내 뒤로.
누구 하나 살려보내지 마라.
Wow, I actually won that one. Except for red coin chest, so it doesn't quite matter.
늦으면 내피랑 먼저 갈 거야.
Fuck.
접세와.
내 뒤로.
Oh, right side's almost broken.
하나 넘고 둘 넘고.
Or not broken, but stagger bar.
닭은 달려들어라.
나라
Oh, roots
그렇게
look close too?
이만하면 훌륭한.
Then we get to attack everything.
쓸모가 없진 않았고 유야했다. 길을 열어라. 조치였습니다.
승객이 딱콩 한 방 먹였어.
Okay, left stem is still not staggered.
쓰러져?
Now it is.
단테님, 저분이 방금 굉장히 중요한 걸 잃으셨어요.
Two. Do we try to break head? This one attacks, I think, regardless, so.
회풍.
쨍그랑
목을
우리가
떨고 싶어.
부각났어. 계속해도 돼. 대성공이야. 칼은 신나. 노래 부를까?
결정 영화.
쟤네 좀 봐. 속이
Damage.
미스거워 보여.
회풍.
그래, 그렇게 시원하게 처리하니 보는 맛이 나. 전탄격발 처리는
Oof. Okay.
덜 답답한 법이지. 확실히 현명한 5번 수행자. 덕분에 위험한
뭘
순간도
잘못했는지
넘어간
아는
적이
것부터가
많겠지.
Dimension
시작이었어.
Shredder might have been the harder one of the set so far.